Jillian Sidoti from crowdfundinglawyers.net and Private Money Rockstar, and this is our segment, People You Should Know. In 2030, we're going to have a problem. What is that problem, you might ask? Well, there's 75 million baby boomers right now. Those baby boomers are aging, and what that is going to cause a doubling of the people who are going to need care in 2030. We're going to have to solve this problem, and my next guest is going to try to solve that problem. Jean Guarino is from the Residential Assisted Living Academy. And Jean, tell us why residential assisted living?
Sure. And thank you for inviting me here to share this. It is a problem. You know, this 2030 problem, for a lot of us, it's a problem right now because we have parents or grandparents that are needing help. We can't do it all of ourselves. We can't do it 24/7. So it is an issue right now, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We call it the silver tsunami of seniors. It's an unstoppable wave of aging people, and all of us are going to get involved in this industry. So what we do is we use real estate as a vehicle, and we use the business of the residential assisted living as the way to make the money on it. So a lot of people are doing real estate as well as you and I know, but everything is cyclical. I currently think we're closer to the top than the bottom of the current cycle. I don't know what exactly that means, and nobody does. Are we 6 months or 6 years left? All I know is we've been on a tear for a long time. But right now, we can take virtually any property and cash flow it very, very well using residential assisted living. But it's not every property, it's not every person that should do it. We have very specific guidelines of where, when, how, and who, and all of that as well.
Okay, well, obviously we're not going to be able to get to all the guidelines today, but tell me, if somebody's looking to get into residential assisted living, or let's just say somebody is looking to put a parent into residential assisted living, what should they be looking for? What kind of properties are appropriate for this type of care?
Sure. Well, the question of where to put or how to decide where to put mom or dad into care is a whole different topic, but let me touch on a few guidelines for everybody here, because if you're going to come to my home, that's the question you have. So the question is who, not so much how's the house, where's the house, who's going to take care of mom and dad. So really the management and the caregivers, that's your critical piece of the puzzle. Yes, we want it to be conveniently located. We want it to be priced right. We want it to be in a beautiful home, but the who is taking care of mom and dad is critically important. That's one of the reasons why, Jillian, I always say to people, you're going to get involved one way or the other. You're either going to own the real estate, operate the business, or you or a family member is going to live in one of these homes. So you're going to be writing a check to somebody who does. So one of the easy solutions is to own the home yourself. You pick the staff, you move right into the master bedroom, live for free, and have 9 or 10 other people paying you thousands of dollars a month. And it's a live happily ever after at that point. So
right. Yeah. And so wait, there was a lot of information right there. And I'm actually trying to process all of this because in preparation for talking to you today, I am a real statistician. I like to look up statistics and know exactly what's going on. And I've known for quite some time that senior living, and we're specifically talking about senior living, obviously there's different types of residential assisted living. It's not just limited to senior living, but to me, the real story is in the senior living because, again, this population is aging. Healthcare is getting better and more advanced. People are living longer. Millennials do not want to take care of their parents. It's really that simple. And it's not so much that they don't want to, it's that they can't. We have 2 income families. There's no stay-at-home family member most of the time. And so there's a couple of things. You said something interesting about you're going to be either writing a check or owning somewhere along the line, all of us are going to be involved in residential assisted living.
Yes.
I want to get to that writing a check part of it. Who pays for residential assisted living? How does that get paid for?
Sure. And any assisted living is going to be paid for ultimately by the resident or their family. So let me break it down and give you, because we only have a short time, I'll give people a lot of information at the end, so stick with us. But you can be in independent living or assisted living or nursing home. So independent living is those communities where you see it says 55 and above, age restricted, no care provided, just you're there. It's kind of a retirement community, pickleball, golf, tennis, the rest of it. It's not what we do. On the other end of the spectrum is a nurse.
Wait, hold on. Can I move into one of those now? That's
Yes, I don't know. You're not old enough for that, so you can't. You'd have to move in with me, but I'm already taken. So it's 55 and above. And then on the other side, you have the nursing home, which is actual medical help and attention. Most people never get to that point. Most people don't quite realize it, but life isn't a TV show. Most people simply pass away before they go to a hospital and get hooked up to EKGs and have doctors and nurses running around. In real life, most people are going to retire at some point. They're going to want to be with other adults in community with good amenities for them. Most are never going to go to a nursing home, but it's that middle ground, that assisted living. So we do residential assisted living, which simply means we use a single family home in a residential neighborhood, convert it slightly, and have that set up for the assisted living. And who pays for that? Very few of you, me, and our listeners, very few of us are going to rely on the government to take care of us. The government, through Medicaid, Medicare, maybe $2,000 a month, which includes your Social Security, your pension plan. Then they top it off like a gas tank to get to $2,000 a month. The average in America today is $4,000 per person per month. If $2,000 is all you got, you're in a bad home. We're going to end up in private pay, where we pay for mom or dad's care. Maybe we use their retirement account, their Social Security, their pension. We supplement it with the rest. They're in a beautiful home that we all feel good about. So private pay is what we focus on in a residential setting.
Private pay, very interesting. And I did also see a statistic from a study, I believe it was from Wharton, that said 2007 to 2011, construction for new nursing homes had decreased significantly, like by 33%, which to me doesn't make a whole lot of sense until you said what you just said. And the reason why it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me is because we started off this conversation by saying this population is aging. They're going to need this service. But you just said something interesting. People most likely are not going to get to that nursing home level.
Correct.
They're going to be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
So they're aging. They need something. Yeah. What is that something? Residential assisted living.
There you go.
And tell me how. Tell me how it's affordable for an elderly person.
Well, I'll get to that in a minute because it's not necessarily affordable. When my wife just came back from a family event and she was talking to her brother and his mother-in-law, and basically she's saying it's going to cost like $7,000 or $8,000 a month to take care of her mother-in-law there. And it's like, what? What do you mean? It's like, no, that's what it does cost in a beautiful home in a beautiful area. If the national average is $4,000, I mean, I travel all over the country, 50 cities a year just in the U.S. alone. But in some cities, $7,000, $8,000 is an average home. In other areas, $3,000 is an average home. So it depends on where you are, what things cost, and all of that. But I also wanted to comment on that stat that 07 to 11 things dropped. That's because the economy went down. So everything is cyclical. All that building that was happening, that pent up, they just stopped building, which meant all of those beds that were being built, filled. Now the economy's coming back, and now the building has started again. The big box facilities are overbuilding in some markets, but they know they're doing it because this pent up demand is going to just continue on like a wave, and they're going to fill those beds. But we only fill 10 beds at a time, where they have to fill 210. So we have the boutique restaurant where they're trying to do it as the OK Corral buffet for $9.95.
So tell me, okay, so let's back up for a second. Let's look at it from the point of view of what most of our viewers are looking at this. Right. How can they make money in residential assisted living?
So the three best ways to do it is either own the real estate and lease it to an operator. So that's one. Think twice the market rent with a long-term, let's say 5-year lease with 5-year renewals. Beautiful situation. Okay. Option two, own or control with a lease, let's say an option to buy, own or control the real estate and operate the business. So that's where the real big money is made. We go through numbers, and I can share all this with everybody later after we're done, but $10,000 per month from a single family home is kind of an average profit from an average home. We want you to do much nicer and bigger than that. But if you don't want to do either of those, the third way is to be a private lender or private investor, a joint venture partner of some kind, very passive, hands-off, just write a check and fund the deal.
Oh, interesting. So let's talk about being an owner, right? Mm-hmm. So own the real estate, you would charge the operator rent,
Yeah.
the operator would charge fees to the end
So
rent.
the elderly who are living in the home.
Okay.
Actually, it's
So,
the family that pays for it, not them.
okay, sure. So you as the owner of the property, that sounds pretty sweet right there. You just
Sure.
sit there and collect the rent, and you have a master lease of some sort, or just a lease, I
It's
suppose.
just a lease. A lot of times I speak all over the country and people say, I'm renting a house like that to somebody. I had no idea I could charge them more. And I always remind them, you can charge anything you want. And now that you know they're making so much money, you could double their rent and they're not going to move because they can't just move the business from your house to 3 miles away. Those residents are not going to go with them. They're going to say, no, if we're going to move, maybe we'll go someplace else. So that there's people doing this already and they don't even know that they're doing it. They're part of it. But here's the secret though, and I'll give this to you kind of a pro tip, if you will. Don't just go buy a house and now say, let me rent it to an operator. Find the operator first. Tell them, ask them, where do you want me to buy a house? What do you want it to look like? How big? Where do you want it? Buy that house specifically and lease it to them. That's the way to do that.
Tell me what kind of house should we, okay, so obviously we got to go out and find the operator.
Yeah.
I get that.
If you're going to
But
lease it.
what is the operator going to say most likely in terms of what I should be looking for? Let's
Yeah.
say we have people out there that already own homes. They don't want to get rid of them. They would like to find this kind of operator. What should they be considering before they start approaching operators?
The most important thing is location. And when I say location, it's not, oh, it's a beautiful mountaintop or a stream no, it's demographics. So who lives around that? So here's some criteria. More people, the better. The higher the income, the better. The house itself, if we do single level, that's better for mobility issues for seniors. Doesn't have to be. Bigger home is better than smaller. More bathrooms is better than less because we can convert space. I'm in an office here. I could easily, because I had actually designed this to be 3 bedrooms for assisted living in this one office. So a room can be divided, but adding bathrooms, that's where it gets more expensive and complicated. So bigger is better. More bathrooms is better. Single level is better. But the key is you could build that. It's the demographics of the people that live within and get this 20 minutes of that home. Most of the people who move into the home, somebody in the family is going to live within 20 minutes of that home. That's just a common rule of thumb. 80% of the people will have that.
Interesting. Oh, that's great. Oh, I think I might have a home for you. We'll have to talk. So, okay, we could probably sit here all day and talk about this, but like I said, these are short little people you should know, and then they got to find you to find more information. So I'll end with this. Why shouldn't somebody become an operator?
First of all, I do this in a very hands-off manner. So I'm not a caregiver. I'm not the manager. I barely go to the property. I go there when we do our live trainings and we bring people to them on a tour. But other than that, I'm very hands-off. My job is to manage the manager, give them the tools, the resources to be successful. So I'm very hands-off. So if you're going to do this and you're saying, well, I'm going to be very hands-on, and then when I get it all together, I'll turn it over to somebody, forget about it. It's going to suck you in. You'll never get out. On the other hand, if all you are is heart and you're saying, I really don't care about business or making money, then don't get in this business. It takes money to pay the caregivers, to give them great food, have a wonderful location. If you're not willing to be a business person, but you just have a big, huge heart, that's not going to work either. So it's this combination between heart and business, and then the staff comes in the middle. So I always tell people, nobody wants employees, right? Nobody raised their hand. But then I say, how many of you want to do it all yourself? Nobody raised their hand. Then I say, how many of you want employees now?
Yeah.
They figure it out. We have to have somebody who's the caregiver, who's the manager, and it's not going to be me, so it's going to be somebody else. None of us want to have that, but we must have that. And that's also the blessing. So our motto is do good and do well. We can do really well, make a lot of money, but doing good also means working with those caregivers, the manager, the residents, their families, so that everybody's being blessed and getting what they need as we're making money. Do good and do well.
Okay, I got to ask one more question.
You can ask as many as you want.
I know. I gotta be mindful what people expect. It's so funny because I sent somebody a video the other day. It was like a Joe Rogan podcast to watch, and they refused to watch it because it was 2 hours long, and they didn't want to start it. And so that's why I'm always mindful. I want people to watch the end. I know people are watching to the end on this one because this is like we barely scratch the surface. So I'll ask this. What are you looking for in a manager or an operator when you're out there looking for the operator? Because like as a homeowner, I'll tell you right now, I ain't managing anything. But as a homeowner, and I'm gonna put my home, or maybe not my home, but my rental property or whatever it might be, up for this purpose. Obviously, I'm worried about is this operator going to actually pay me? You know, number one.
Good.
Two, are they going to be running an up and up kind of facility, for lack of a better term, while I'm not there? So tell me about that. What am I looking for in a manager / operator?
Yeah, and different, because if you are literally going to be hands off, I'm just going to lease my property too, you're going to focus more on their ability to make a payment to you. Whether they're successful or not is almost inconsequential, but I get it. The other part of, do I feel good about them? Are they going to do a good job? You and I can look somebody in the eye and get a gut feel. You know who the stinkers are in life, and we also know the people that are good operators, or at least try to be. So let's get past that part. What you're ultimately looking for is, if you find somebody that's got experience already, maybe they already have a home or two and they need this next home, and you're bringing the property to them, you solved a big problem for them. So that would be one, experience doing it already. And if they're brand new, have they been trained? Do they at least have support and training to be able to do this from people who have done it before? If it's not neither of those, I would not necessarily chance it unless they're paying you a year in advance for the rent or something like that. Then the finances are not the issue.
Yeah. Okay. Look, I think I'm going to come to your event because I have about 10 other questions that just popped up from that last thing. So where can people find out more information? I know you have an event coming up. Tell us about that, where it is, how much it is,
Sure.
when it is.
Let me start with this. I want to give some free information if everybody's okay with that. I've got a book that we wrote. It's the Insider's Guide to Investing in Senior Housing. So somebody who's looking at being an investor, they can literally download the book for free. I'm going to give you a link. Grab your pen. There's also a training that, I had the privilege of traveling around, and occasionally we'll do a 5-hour training. I boiled it down to about an hour and a half and put it down into 10 to 15 minute chunks. So I know exactly what you're talking about. This would be a little chunk and eventually an hour and a half's worth of material. That's free. Or if you just want to set up a phone call, we call it a discovery session, to have a conversation to see, is it a good fit? Are you right for this? But the website is simple, RAL101.com. So 3 letters, RAL101.com. You can get access to all 3 of those things, the book, the webinar, the phone call. And we do 8 live trainings a year in Phoenix, Arizona. We have a national convention coming up the first weekend in October. Last year we had Jonathan Goldsmith, the most interesting man in the world, as a guest. This year we have Harry S. Dent and the founder of Dr. Bill Thomas, the founder of Eden Alternatives, as well as the Greenhouse Project. So those 2 are keynote speakers. We have about 20 other sessions, and there'll be about 500-600 people there. So awesome event. Love to have everybody attend, but RAL 101 to get you started.
All right. RAL101.com. That's Residential Assisted Living 101.com. So RAL101.com. Insider's Guide to Investing in Senior Housing. That's the book you want to start with. You can download it for free. Jean, last question for you. What book, other than this awesome book, which I'm going to download as soon as we end here, which book do you recommend and why to our listeners?
There's so many books that I could recommend, and it always pick a topic. Is it business, sales, personal development? You pick a topic and I'll give you one.
I'm on a personal development kick right now, so let's go with that one.
All right. So personal development kick, I'm going to go a little different direction. I'm going to mix that with sales because I think you can use that in communication. There's a book called Unlimited Selling Power by Dr. Donald Moyne, probably 20 years old. Unlimited Selling Power. The reason why it's good personal development, a lot of it is it's a good primer to what's called NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming.
I love that. Yeah.
And it talks everything from how do you talk to your kids and your family about, what movie to go to, what restaurant to go to. So it's practical, a lot of fun, And it also allows you to, sales is just influence, just sharing an idea with somebody and them saying, yeah, I get it. So it's a great book, Unlimited Selling Power. Get the old version, not the new one. The updated one is good. It's 20 years old, but that's a great book.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Today's guest was Gene Guarino from the Residential Assisted Living Academy. Go to his event. He's giving you all this stuff for free. Go get the free stuff, but go to the event. It's the first weekend in October. Where is it? Wait, what town? City is it?
Phoenix, Arizona, right near the airport. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to go.
Good. Love to have you.
Find out what's doing. I think this is the future. For those of you that listen to me regularly, I'm huge into statistics. The statistics don't lie. There is a need for this, a real, true need. People are not going to be staying in their 2-story homes by themselves. They just cannot do it. And they don't want to go to nursing homes. So keep that in mind. All right, everybody. Thank you so much, Gene. And I will see you soon.
Thank you.